Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey. What is going on, good people? What is going on? It is the 20th episode of the Blu-XPerience. Can you believe it?
I
20th
can't believe it.
episode.
I really
How
can't.
appropriate, right? How appropriate for the end of 2021, right? I'm telling you, man, I can't believe we did 20 episodes this time, brother.
I
This
really
is so
can't.
good, man.
It still
This
reminds
is
me back when me and you were just talking about this on the phone. You know what I mean?
right. You're
Like
right.
talking about the idea of doing it, the idea of doing like a talk show, a podcast, a late show, a late night show about flight sim, stuff like that. So it's really cool. So for those people who are new to this format, XP, let them know what they're watching right now.
You guys are watching the Blu-XPerience, where we talk all things flight sim, all things aviation, all things real world. But flight sim primarily is what we started with, but we branched out into just talking about everything in the aviation community, in the aviation world. I know there's some things we haven't touched on yet, but trust me, 2022 is around the corner, and there's going to be more things to come. So I appreciate you guys checking out the show. Welcome to the Blu-XPerience. My man Blue Games on the one side and XP72 here, and that's what we're going to be doing. And another appropriate thing is that we are wrapping up the final show of the year, talking about, like, this is the best topic I've seen in a while, in terms of, if you guys didn't know, Navigraph, who supplies us with all the charts and the AirX for the airplane updates, of course, did a survey a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago or so, and the results of this survey is out. And actually just looking it over and looking at the actual numbers, as Blue says, the numbers don't lie. We can't even believe the results of the survey. We figured we had to get it out here and talk to you guys in the flight sim community about it, and you guys would be interested too. I'm not sure if you guys heard about it, if you've seen it, but we're going to be discussing it today. So that's what we're here to do, man. But welcome aboard the Blu-XPerience, guys. Appreciate it, man. Blue, how was your day today, brother?
Man, day's been it's been pretty good so far. Went to the movies to watch the new Spider-Man movie with the family. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
I've been working throughout this whole kind of holiday break, but just kind of cool that other people are off, so I get the chance to actually go out and spend time with them. So that's kind of what it's been all about these past couple weeks.
Nice, man. Yeah, this, as you were saying earlier, this week is just like a chill week for me. Got a couple of streams in, which I loved. Might try to do another one before the year is out. I don't know. We'll see how that works. But, talking about the year is out, I mean, before we even jump into the survey, I was just thinking out loud, like, this year, I think, has been the most exciting year in the flight sim community. Maybe there's some old schoolers out there who have seen better than this, but we're talking about 4 different simulators competing for spots, add-on developers for airplanes dropping stuff, coming out with stuff, announcing stuff, senior developers jumping on a new platform and doing their work on that. It's been busy for you, man. For me, man. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, wow, the most exciting year. It's hard to beat 2020 though, because that's when Microsoft Flight Sim initially came out. Like, the hype around that was just unmatchable. You know what I mean? Like, it not just the after release hype, but the before, how like we were just like excited, right? But I feel like this year was a bit fuller. Like, we were getting more back. It was less, I can't wait for this, I'm anticipating that. It's more like, I'm getting this, I'm getting that. But honestly, it's on one side though. It's like on the X-Plane side of things, we were getting a lot of cool stuff. On the Microsoft side of things, they're still kind of in that phase of like, we're so close. If I just had a 737, if I just had that Phoenix A320, if I just had a wide body jet, then this sim I would be, put so many more hours on it. So I think Microsoft is still not quite there yet, but if you're the kind of simmer who is jumping between different sims, between P3D, X-Plane, Microsoft Flight Sim, there's been a lot of great releases, again, like you said, with scenery, with planes, and there's been these developers have been really putting in a lot of hard work. I was really hoping that this was going to be the year that we were going to see that PMDG 737. I was hoping that we would actually see that Phoenix A320 before the year was out. There's a lot of planes, even the MD-11 for X-Plane 11, things, Airbus, Falcon, stuff like that, the Challenger 650, a lot of planes were kind of scheduled to come out this year in 2020 that did not happen, and it's disappointing, but at the same time, when you think about it, it's better to wait just a little bit longer than to get that half-baked product, as we always say.
True, true. But all that being said, though, I have to shout out the Fly-by-Wire team.
Oh
They
yeah.
were on the show. They were on the show what a few episodes ago.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for them, man, I don't think I'd be putting in half the flying I did in Microsoft this year. The A320 mod is just a thing of beauty. Even with a remote MCDU working on my iPad, man. Come on, man. You can print from that airplane. This is freeware stuff, right? This is Zebo-esque. Heavy division mod also for the 787. Those are the two go-to planes I have at Microsoft that I've just flown the heck out of this year. Even with the updates that Microsoft dropped, that were better, has been more stable. The frames have been good. It looks good. Those two planes have been rocking. So shout out to those guys for just putting in their volunteer time and making this thing good. It's really, really, really and truly great for that. And then on the X-Plane side, X-Plane doing X-Plane things, dropping X-Plane 12 previews, which we can't wait for. That's going to say a lot when that drops. I don't know how it's going to shake out, which leads us into the survey here to see what people think about X-Plane and Microsoft and P3D and FSX. So I guess without further ado,
I think that was a perfect segue into the that was perfect. I'm gonna actually pull it up on the screen. You guys are not gonna see our faces. I did not set up that scene, sadly. But I'm gonna pull up on the screen. You guys can get this as well from Navigraph's website. But we'll be showing you here. So let me bring that over real quick into the chat. So
I'm gonna drop a link in chat.
Yeah, go ahead and drop a link in chat.
If these guys want to download that to the survey that we're about to read from,
will do the same.
It's good, man. But the first one in the survey, if you scroll down to page number 14, we're gonna start
in the
there.
PDF.
In the PDF, exactly. Page
14 in the PDF, guys.
Hold on. How many pages this PDF has? This survey covers over, hold on, 122 pages of survey.
Yeah, we're not doing all 122 pages
No, we're
today.
not. We're going to go over the main stuff. I want to start with page 13 on this thing, man.
13.
As a matter of fact, Cam A321 says Navigraph even dropped an AirRack on us too, so we have an AirRack update to do.
Yep, this morning.
True. So the first thing that blew my mind, if you go to page 14 on that one,
14.
The one after that one, is the demographics of the age of simming and flight simmers and the people who actually did the survey. Read it there. The bulk of the users are in the range of 15 to 85. However, there's a huge peak around age 20 for flight simmers. I guess 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
Look at that. If you look at that graph, you notice right away that the 20-somethings are outstanding. Basically, almost 20% of the people who are flight simming are 20-somethings. And
that makes sense.
The next biggest one after that is in the 40s. I guess that's going to be, me. But does that shock you at all?
No, it doesn't shock me at all. I feel like if you're 18ish, between 18 and 25, you're looking at a career, right? You're graduating high school, you got a job, you can actually spend money on flight sim. Like before then, it's like you're kind of at the mercy of your parents, at the mercy of other things you can't really control because you don't have any assets, but once you get up into the 20 age, you can actually go out and buy your own stuff. You got your job. Hopefully you got a job. And then again, you're looking into, all right, what do I want to do for a career? What am I, do I want to be a pilot? If I'm going to be a pilot, let me get more into this flight sim stuff, right? So I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that the reason why we see the 40 so high is because I've definitely noticed that a lot of older men who are retired or retiring. Well, I guess 40 is not a retiring age. I shouldn't say that, but you know what I'm saying? Older men who are
got that mature money.
That old money, right? That's that old money. Right. So it's like you're getting older. Your kids are getting older. You ain't got babies as much anymore. I feel like 40 sounds about right. At this is the age that you usually develop a man cave.
Exactly. Peter says because 40s it's having a midlife crisis. Shout out to Peter.
Makes sense. Instead of buying a motorcycle, you buy a flight sim. Yeah,
exactly. And by the way, shout out to the 3% of responders who are over 80. Oh my God, we got 80 and 80, and I got an 85-year-old. 1% is 85, bro.
I
So
feel
we
like I
got
might know that guy.
true. Yeah, that's interesting. And if we just look between the 2 years, last year it wasn't really that much different, to be honest.
No.
It's the same. So that stays consistent. Now, the second one, we're going to run through this, guys. As we said, we're not going to stay long on a lot of these because we can go on for hours, 120 pages.
Now, this next page I want to introduce because I absolutely hate this statistic. I hate it. Gender. It says what best describes your gender, but basically here male is 96%. And I also see this. I know XP sees it as well. And if you're a flight sim streamer, you see this in your YouTube statistics. Is that the majority, usually 99. I think mine was like 98, 99% of viewers who are watching my videos are male. And every time I see it, I'm like, where are the ladies at? Like, seriously, like, are they just not watching flight sim? Because there's a good, community of females who are flying in aviation in the real world. But I don't know, like, I guess they're all playing Fortnite or something, or I don't know. Like, I don't know what's up with that.
No, it's true. I mean, I think I have a few females in my stream. I see female names, female sounding names.
But a lot of them are that person's mom, and they're using their YouTube channel.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah.
That explains it. Yeah, but it's 97% of same last year and this year are flight simmers, man, are male.
What's
Male
crazy,
flight
if you look at the last year results, it says female 0.9%, so we lost 1.1% in 2021.
Ladies watch baby channels. Oh my God. Ladies throw shoes. Yes, they do, Gia. But
Right.
yeah, that is cool. That
It's
is
like, what can we
interesting
do?
to know.
What can we do in our streams to attract the female gender to flight sim?
Exactly. Right. But here's another stat. Let's talk about who plays flight simming. Basically employment status of the people who do flight simming. I would love to see this actually compared to other games. The vast majority of people who play flight sim are actually full-time people. They work full-time.
Mhm.
And then the second highest is retirees, believe it or not.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm shocked because let me break the numbers down. 50% of people who stream are full-time employees. 16% are retired, and then the next one at 9%, they're in school. Somehow I don't get that feeling, especially about the ones in school. You know what I mean? I thought like my demographic are more in school, but I guess I'm wrong. I guess we are wrong on that. It's interesting.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like there's a lot of people in school. I don't know. I'm not surprised by that one, but I am surprised that the in school one is so low.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that. But hey, you never know, man. These are the results. Results don't lie, right? Now, here's another shocking one. Well, not shocking, but the top 5 countries are the same from this year and last year. France, the Netherlands, Italy, Spain, and Switzerland. But if you look at the breakdown, the United States shocks me as 27% of the responders to this about simming is from the US.
That actually really surprises me big time
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
UK, Great Britain has always been, them and Germany have always been kind of the leaders of all simulation, anything. Flight sim, trucking sim, train sim, anything like that. Like, you guys just love your simulators. So it's really surprising to me. Even see last year's result was also above the UK. So I don't know. I feel like there's been a big wave of flight simmers coming out of the US. I think a lot of that we might get, because of maybe, I don't know, Flight Sim Expo, maybe.
Yeah, I know. I think it just could be by sheer numbers, man. I mean, the US is bigger than Europe combined, and Europe is several small countries. So it could be that.
But here
where,
it shows UK specifically, right? So which is not all of Europe, but then we have France, then we have Germany, then we have the Netherlands, Italy, Spain, all that kind of stuff.
So if you add those up, we're probably looking at more numbers as the Europe versus just one specific country. See what you're saying. Let's see who's the lowest on that list.
Norway.
Wow.
The
Brazil
question is who's not on the list?
Oh man, Other than Brazil, I don't see like Chile and Argentina
I don't
and
see any Caribbean, well, any Caribbean, and I don't know if they would fit. I guess because like what
yeah,
would Jamaica be? Is that a country? Like,
Jamaica would be like a -1%, man. It's me and a couple of dudes, and that's it. Nobody else. So,
next year everybody's gonna register as Caribbean because they've been in your Congo lines.
right, right. Next year probably, but hey. Anyway, all right. Let's see how smart or how dumb flight simmers are with the survey. What is the highest level of education you have completed as a flight simmer?
High school.
26% high school or secondary school. But 24% has a bachelor's degree.
Wow.
So your audience is not dumb, man. Your audience is very smart, bro.
I'm not even in that category.
Yeah. We even have a master's degree, 16%.
Wow.
You understand?
Yeah, 4% doctors.
Yep. I know one doctor that watches the channel. I won't call any names.
I'm not gonna lie, but
yeah.
just the fact that doctor is on the list blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
You never know, man.
Wow.
Doctors like airplanes too.
It says there's more people as a doctor than primary school. I don't even know what primary school is. That's not something we say in the U.S.
Yeah, that's like basic school, junior high.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like junior
high.
high.
I feel like that could have been merged with the secondary high school thing or something.
Right. So, guys in chat, take a wild guess. What's the yearly income level of flight simmers on average? Well, the highest on average.
Is that the next one?
Yeah, that's gonna be the next one down.
I'm scared to look at this one because I'm not gonna be on the top.
You're gonna be way past it. The highest is 10% at 60,000 a year. 60,000 a year. Dr. Mason, what's going on, man? Welcome aboard, sir. There's a doc in chat. Nice. Peter says I have a PhD in dumb. But yeah, 60 grand. And then the next highest is gonna be what? 70 grand, 40 grand, and 10 grand. Yeah. But the top is 60,000. Believe it or not, we do have some six-figure salaries in the house, but they're like 1%.
Those are the guys building 737 cockpits. That's what those are.
Yo,
That's
man,
what they are.
I know.
The 1%.
Yeah. But we do spend a lot on flight sim peripherals, though. Think about it.
Oh man, we spend so much money.
Have everything they have bought, so they're taking part of that income every year and turning it back into flight simming entertainment.
The next one makes a lot of sense to me. Do you work in aviation?
Go ahead and drop that, bro.
Of course not. Wow. 83% of people who are in the flight sims do not work in aviation. That's crazy.
That shocks me. But you tell me why it doesn't shock you.
It doesn't shock me because the main thing that attracts us to flight sim is the fact that we can't do it in real life. Right? It's like we don't have a job in aviation. We're not pilots, or maybe not pilots yet. So for me, it makes complete sense because it's kind of like we are fantasizing about this career that we want to have or wish we could have. And since we don't have it, we are here. So I feel like that's most people.
Got you. Yeah, that's high, guys. 83% of the people do not work in aviation. So I guess after you work in aviation, you come home, the last thing you want to do is get in front of a computer.
That's not true.
I mean, look, V1 works in aviation.
Yeah. Flight
Deck to Sim works in aviation.
Yeah.
A320 Sim Pilot works in aviation. They're here. They must really love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know, like as a ramp agent, the first thing I want to do when I get home is hop in the flight sim because I'm around all these planes and it just makes me want to go out. Like you can only look at aircraft a certain amount of time. Like I've gotten this feeling when I've gone plane spotting. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go home. and hop on a sim. You know what I mean? Or even like if I'm traveling, you know, from one place to another, and I'm in an A320, I'm like, okay, I can't wait to get back home again, so I get in the sim and try to recreate that route. You know, because it's like it's cool to look at the planes and they're beautiful, they look good, they sound good, but at some point you're gonna get to the point where you want to get back into your simulator and go out and enjoy all the things you love about aviation, and just use it as the fire.
Here's a funny thing though. One of the second next number, other than people who don't work in aviation, is pilots. As airline pilots are up there, represented at 4.4%. So, you know, there's something to be said as a pilot. If you come home in flight sim, you really are hooked.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, let's transition over to the next one. What pilot license do you currently have as a flight simmer?
Done.
The vast majority is none. 75% have no pilot license whatsoever. Does that mean that if I go ahead and get my PPL, I'm going to stop simming?
No.
Yeah, I know one.
Actually,
I know one streamer who, when he got his PPL, his streams cut down a lot.
really?
Yes. Yeah.
That is a good question. Like, would you not sim as much because you're too busy working on a PPL, or you're too busy doing the real thing now, right? Like, I mean, I feel like, I mean, I don't have a PPL yet, but I would just imagine that if I have the opportunity, if I have the finances, the resources to go fly in real life versus fly in a sim, which would you choose, right?
True. And I have to say that because I did that flight the other day on Christmas, I loaded up in Microsoft today and I did a GA flight. Oh, shock.
Oh my God, guys.
I went
Somebody
to my home
clipped
airport.
that. Somebody clipped that.
I did.
XP did a GA flight.
I did. I did a couple of circuits out of my home airport, Lantana, here in Florida. And I have to say, the scenery looked nice, but it didn't give me that feeling. You know, and it was a Microsoft flight sim, which looked really good. But, you know, it didn't give me that like the real thing does. It just made me want to go back and do some more real world flying, put it that way. But that's probably something, man.
Yeah, the next one, simulation and relation. When did you get your first flight simulator?
Interesting. So if you are a pilot, real world pilot, they basically wanted to know that when did you get your first sim? Was it before or after you started flying? And most people is before they started studying for becoming a pilot. I guess simming got them into it.
Right.
So 72% simming got them into real world flying, which I completely can understand and see. And then they dropped simulators afterwards.
I agree.
But yep, and then 20% says after they obtained their pilot license, they got into simming. I guess for practice,
for training, and practice checklist, stuff like that. Yeah, let's
Yep.
keep going because we have 100 and some pages, and I know we got some juicy ones that I want to talk and focus on, but we're gonna skim through these. So next we have: Are you currently enrolled in flight school? 91% people say no. That's kind of same with the last two questions. So
exactly.
We'll keep going. Flight lesson consideration. So this is actually pretty interesting. How many of the people who are considering taking real world flight lessons within the next year of the flight simmers? 74% people say no.
Yeah, only 25% of simmers really want to go do real world flying.
That blows
because they know
my
the cost
mind.
of it. Yeah, that's it. They know the cost of it, man. That's what it is. Two-Tone Murphy, how you doing, man? Welcome versus GA all the way. I hear you, bro. I did the GA flight. I know, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
I guess
it's hard for me to like I get it. I get it. It's expensive. I understand that. But this is not saying, hey, I'm gonna do it. Like, you're saying, are you considering it? Like, you're not. Like, these people are not even thinking about the option of doing real world flying. Like, I mean, I don't know. As much as I love flight sim, as much as I love aviation, like, I can't imagine just like, all right, I'm just gonna do flight sim. Like, that's it. I'm happy with that. Like, no, I can't. I can't be
cost
happy
and money,
with that.
man. Cost and money. That's what it is.
Well, if you love something enough, though, but like you'll find the money.
All right, let's move to page 27. Here's a good one. Simulator habits, mobile. Do you fly simulators on mobile or tablet devices? Almost 90% says no.
Ouch.
Not shocked.
Ouch.
Not shocked, man.
Ouch. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of mobile flight sims. We got X-Plane, we got Infinite Flight, we got Aerofly.
Right.
So it's really literally, well, I mean, they actually have 3 sims just like we do.
Yeah.
What's crazy about this is I think the reason that this is so possibly so lopsided is because I think the majority of people taking the survey are PC and Xbox simmers. I don't think they're Infinite Flight or they're not mobile flight simmers, because I have seen the mobile flight sim genre and niche, and there's a lot of them. Like it's a massive audience. I just don't think they're taking this survey. That's my thoughts. I don't think this is accurate in my personal opinion. But wow, 87%. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it went up
And
since last year.
yeah, it did. And these two real quick says if you fly mobile, do you fly online? It's like 50-50 fly online in mobile flight simming. And but most people 40% says they don't use any ATC, 30% says human control. I didn't know it was human control for a mobile flight simulator. I didn't know that. Wow, didn't know that. There's something else. All right, let's move on to something relevant to us. Next one says page 29. Do you use an external EFB for your mobile flight simulator? No, I'm done. Yeah,
it is a no. I mean, who? Very
it's a
few
hard
people
no.
Will be using that. I'm familiar with that because you can actually connect for flight to Infinite Flight and I think X-Plane as well on mobile, and very few people even know that it's possible. What's next? Do you operate as a virtual air traffic controller? 89% of people say no, and all of the ATC people in the chat and watching this are just like, no wonder we're so busy.
Yeah, think about it. There's 50 guys flying to one controller.
Yeah.
You know, and I was asked yesterday, would I ever do VATSIM? I'm like, in years when I'm bored of flying, maybe I'll try it, but it's hard work. You got to study.
Yeah, I thought about a while back doing ATC because I got sick of not getting ATC in my home area, right? And I was like, maybe I could go be a controller. And I looked into how to do it, and I was like, that's too much work. I'm all right.
Right. And it even breaks down the ATC stuff here. How many times do you operate as a virtual air traffic controller per week? The majority says 1 time a week. You know what I mean?
No wonder it's so freaking scarce in certain parts of the darn world.
Yeah, 1 time, 36%.
A week.
So, a week. I mean,
you know what? I think that's also. I know there's I think some virtual air traffic control like groups have like a certain amount that you have to control to stay like on the team. I'm not sure if it's per week or per month, but I feel like a lot of them are probably doing like minimum, and you have like that same controller, those same hardcore controllers that control those same airports every day or every Friday. You know what I mean? So
yep. And here it is. They said that the average time they stay on, 40% of them say only 2 hours. I think they're burnt out after 2 hours of doing air traffic
especially if it's heavy traffic. I mean, I feel like it's either way. If it's heavy traffic, then you're freaking just drained after 2 hours. If it's no traffic, you're just bored out your life after 2 hours. Like either way, you're probably drained in either direction there. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. So here's the one that's interesting.
Oh boy.
Aircraft types. What do you normally fly when you're simming?
I haven't looked at this. I'm really interested to see what is on top here. Go ahead.
Number 1, as I could see, if you look up to the bottom, there's a key to it. Always is hard blue and never is hard gray. So I'm looking at the number 1 air type they fly is a narrow body commercial airliner. No surprise. That's a hard blue if you look at that. Number 1 is a narrow body airliner, which is an A320 or a 737-800. That's it. That makes sense to me.
Yep.
Second to that is a wide body commercial airliner.
I think those are the only 2 big dark blue sections.
And then two-tone Murphy comes up in this. The third is a single engine piston. That's what it is. The third is going to be a single engine piston operated aircraft. So your Cessnas or your Piper Archers or something like that.
It's a really interesting graph though, because kind of difficult to understand because like if you look at the whole bar, like all the way over to rarely, which is the lighter blue color, you can see that right after narrow body commercial airliners falls very close short second to single engine pistons. And then you get wide body coming in third. No, actually third is turboprop, and then wide body. That's if you go by the whole bar, but if you look at just the dark blue section there, then you see, all right, these are people who, that's all they fly. Like if it says always, that is all they're flying. These people only fly now the community of people who only fly narrow bodies versus the community of people who fly only pistons is dramatic difference. Like I think what it is that the people who fly pistons, that's me. That's my group of people right there, right? Like I know I fly like airliners, but I'm the group who flies not always piston and not always airliner. Like I'm in the middle. So I'm just like branching it out. So I think that's people who are flying a variety of planes and not only. But I think the thing is, people who fly, not only all people, but a lot of people who fly commercial airliners, that's all they do. They're not interested in GA. They're not interested in freighters. They're not interested in business jets, combat, none of that. They're just like, all I want to fly is my A320, my A319, my 737, and that's what that is showing right there.
But still, I'm looking at it. You said something interesting. With the combination of single engine piston, multi-engine piston, and turboprop, those look like if you add those up together, they are equal to the airliners or close to the narrow body airliner. Think about it. They just broke it down into several different kinds of airplanes.
Yeah.
But if you add those up, and it's always, often, and sometimes. So those are the top three. Nobody flies drones.
I fly the drone camera all the time.
There you go. Float planes, helicopters. Surprisingly, helicopters. I thought there would be more.
I thought helicopters would be higher as well. Like combat beat helicopters.
Yep, I thought so too. So that is interesting. Wow. And it looks similar to last year. Actually, looks similar to last year results on that. But anyway, here's another one. And my numbers are skewed, but how many times do you use the flight simulator per week on average? 3 times a week and 5 times a week are taking the cake. 3 to 5 times a week.
What would you say, like making it personal for you, XP? How many times on average? And I mean, do you only fly flight sim when you're streaming? Do you do any flying outside of that? Okay, so if you stream 5 times a week, that's how much you fly per week.
Yes. So I want to say my average is literally 4 times a week I fly. That's my average. It's 4 times a week. But other people do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something like that, or once on the weekend. You know what I mean? So 3 times and 5 times a week takes the cake. That sounds about right, I think.
It does.
Every time. Yeah.
I think for me personally, I think my average is probably around 5. About 4 or 5, like it's between 4 to 6, because I don't stream all those flights. That's the thing. I stream like maybe 2 to 3 times a week on a good week. But throughout the week, that doesn't mean I'm not flying on my own. I'm usually flying. I'm doing reviews. I'm testing planes. When I'm doing a review, I'm flying the heck out of that plane, right? I gotta get to know that plane, and so if I'm doing a review for an aircraft, that I'm flying probably 10 flights in a week, because I'm really putting that plane through its paces. So. It depends on what I'm doing, but I think average about 4 to 6 for me.
Yeah. Now here's the other graph that's below that actually is very interesting to me. How many hours do you use the flight simulator do in a typical session? Number 1 is 2 hours, then 3 hours, then it tapers off. And it makes sense because in 2 hours, you either do 1 good leg or 2 short legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've seen where after 2 hours in front of it, I don't know, depending on your age, you're done. You know what I mean? You've had it. Worse if you're doing a fly along with me or Two Tone Murphy, where there's like 1,000 people flying along. You know what I mean? They're like, that's it. I'm not putting up with any more of this garbage. We're getting off. You know what I mean? So
know what I noticed this though. So it starts at 2 hours and it tapers down dramatically after 3. Almost half, but then it goes to like not existent at 9, and then it jumps at 10 plus. Those are our long haulers.
Yep, 3% long haulers in the neighborhood.
Now, what's interesting though to me is that I feel like, just judging by the amount of people who not only watch long haul streams, but people who always ask in streams, can you do a long haul? I feel like that number will be a lot higher than what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this
Yeah.
is not specifically asking about long hauls. I don't know if there is a question about long hauls in here, but I don't know, I'm kind of like, that's what I'm getting out of this chart here is like, hey, like these are people who fly 10 hours plus. That's a whole freaking day. So like that's, yeah, come on. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. All right, I'm going to skip the next question about the, what kind of airplane you fly, civilian or helicopter
Yeah,
pilot,
we can
whatever.
skip that.
Let's go to platforms. This is going to be an interesting one. How often do you fly simulators on the following platforms? Mobile devices, 20% or less, 18%. Desktop, PC, Macs, or Linux, almost 98%.
Wow.
Console, Xbox, PlayStation, that's 5%. That's crazy.
That's interesting. That's extremely low.
Yeah, it's a little bump from the previous year. Let me read the question. It says, respondents tend to use a desktop as a flight simulator platform, but sometimes a mobile device too. Not many respondents use a gaming console for flight simulation yet. However, there's a slight increase in console usage compared to the previous year. Wow. What does that say?
Console is on the uptrend right now.
It's on the uptrend since last year. It is, but it's still a PC market for a flight simulator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's crazy.
Also,
Yeah.
consoles, as Ozzy in the chat is saying, are hard to get a hold of. I think that if you could get your hands on consoles easier, we'd see a lot more people flying on console.
Right. It's true. And by the way, it's saying that the purpose of the flight simulation and 50% or more is just curiosity or interest in aviation. 25% is just casual gaming. And 12% is familiarization of cockpit, airport, and airspace. Interesting.
Okay, so I wanted to take a look at this one because actually I did watch a piece of the video that Magnus posted of the Navigraph stuff, and he was mentioning something that was really interesting to me, and that is the fact that casual gaming as a flight sim has been on the up. It's going up, like because of Microsoft Flight Sim coming to the Xbox, and we have a big wave of new people coming in to the flight sim community. A lot of them are not getting in the flight sim because they want to fly real planes, as we saw earlier.
Right.
70% of people don't care nothing about flying a real plane; they just want to fly a sim. So, or they want to fly possibly just casually, just for fun, just in the sim, just to mess around and do some stuff with their favorite streamer. Who knows? But you see that from last year, it bumped up about 5-6%, and curiosity and interest in aviation dropped 4 or 5%. And then, like you said, the familiarization didn't move like at all. But yeah, I think that I could definitely see that coming from the Xbox release.
So next year, this time, would be curious to see what those numbers look like. Ugh.
I think it depends as well on how Microsoft specifically, because that's the only console we have, only console game we have, how that game evolves over the next year for the Xbox and how they take care of their Xbox people. Even though we as PC simmers are like, no, we don't care about them, take care of us. You know what I mean? So
It's true. But here's the next step, though, and this has to do with console gamers somewhat. But how do you normally fly? VFR, IFR, or casually without any rules? That's going to be interesting.
This looks just like the other chart where it says what type of plane do you fly. You see IFR with a massive 46% of most of the time, and then VFR as most time 13%.
Yeah, it's true. IFR takes the cake. You know, for some reason, people are interested in something that is pretty much out of their reach, I think. You know, you can go get a PPL and do VFR flying, but to get into the IFR realm, you have to take it to a whole different level. But doing it, in the simulator, it's accessible to you right then and there. So I could see why they will do that. But yeah, it's cool. Here's another interesting one that actually bugs me. What type of air traffic control do you mainly use when flying? Add-on ATC, default simulator ATC, human-controlled ATC. I don't use ATC.
Wait,
Number
what?
one. Yes. Which one do you think is number one of what kind of ATC people use mostly?
What?
Yes. Default ATC, which is the computer voice talking to you and steering you into a mountain, is used overall. 35% of people use the default ATC. I didn't know that.
I did. I had no idea anybody used the default ATC.
Yeah. Because VATSIM, IVO, and POSCON is second at 30%, but 35% use default ATC. That is nuts. Wow. No wonder they've been begging to improve the ATC in X-Plane.
Yeah, no wonder X-Plane and Microsoft, both of them are all like putting a lot of resources into, updating and making the default ATC better. And I guess that's why people are actually using it. I had no idea. I've probably used Microsoft's ATC like maybe once back in the alpha period, and since then I was like, all right, if that's him, it is. You know what I mean? In X-Plane the same way. I don't remember the last time I used X-Plane's ATC. So, wow, that's crazy to me. That really blows my mind.
Yep, absolutely, man. Here's another one. How much do you estimate to have spent on flight simulation software and add-ons in the last 12 months? Oh boy. Wow.
Wow, that's actually like the majority is zero.
Yeah, people are holding on to their SciTech, man. They're not upgrading.
Or they just can't get a hold of it.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. How do I break this down? I'm looking at it going.
I know. It's like it looks too,
a
like, too
hundred
perfect.
$100 is spent by 94% of the people. $200 by 74% of the people. $300 is spent by 50% of the simmers. $400 by 34% of the simmers. And let's see, who spends $1,000? Only 7% of the simmers spend $1,000.
Here's the thing, though. Like this is when I first thought about this, I thought hardware. This is software. This is like
Right.
planes. This is scenery. I don't know. I would like if somebody showed me this chart, and if I didn't know that it was by, Navigraph, I wouldn't believe it.
Wow. Let me go back real quick. Somebody in the chat says working title will be working on an ATC also. I guess for Microsoft Flight Sim. Holy moly.
That could be good. That could be good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Chevrolet 972 said that. So that's interesting, man. Wow. But yeah, those are how it is.
It says here at the top, actually for me it's a bit more interesting, is the way it reads is 52% have spent at least $300 per year on software, guys. Software, not hardware. It's just software. These are planes, these are scenery. Obviously 100% have spent zero. This year 74% have spent at least $200. Last year was 77 spent the same amount. This year 94% have spent at least 100, just like last year. So
Yep.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
that's
it looks
crazy.
it looks like hardware is probably the same too. 50% of the people spend $300 on hardware. So
That the next
it
one
looks
is?
like
Yeah, I see the next one.
hardware all the way down. So that's interesting, man. Wow, wow, wow. All right, we're gonna skip the next section. It says inability to purchase hardware because of
We
the
already
COVID
know
and some other
how that
things.
works.
Yeah, yeah, true. And then as far as the stores where you can get them, it's all over the
Really?
place.
Aerosoft is on top.
Yep.
Let me see if there's
you know,
any big always in there. So X-Plane Org Store has the biggest always section. Sim Market has a pretty nice size always section. Orbix
yep.
Direct.
Orbix Direct is a big one.
Microsoft Marketplace, FlightSim.to.
Yep. So X-Plane, Sim Market, Orbix Direct, Microsoft in-game purchasing, Aerosoft, and Just Flight basically are the big stores out there. Everybody else is a Steam is actually lower than a bunch of these, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is interesting. That is absolutely interesting as far as where people buy their stuff. I know, the few that I use as well includes these guys. So that is something else there.
Freeware
Here's a good
versus software.
All right. So considering all the software and data which you use for flight simulation, what tends to be freeware versus payware? So simulator software, it looks like it's what?
I think by similar to software,
Mostly payware.
they mean like X-Plane, Microsoft. That's what a
Right.
simulation software is. And the green, so basically the blue. If you can't read it on the screen, the blue is showing these are people. This is the payware. This is people would rather pay payware for this type of product versus get it for free.
Yep.
The green is saying,
Yep.
hey, I want to get this type of product for free. So like aircraft, the majority of people are actually buying it. Or buying aircraft rather than getting free aircraft. Nav data, they're paying for that. Charts are paying for that. Scenery
Yep.
is actually kind of 50-50. It's the closest one of all of them. It's kind of half and half. Half people want to get scenery for free, half are getting scenery for free, half are buying scenery. Weather's half and half, and then also ATC though is the majority free, which is
Yeah,
not.
I mean, with VATSIM and IVO being free, and POSCON, I don't see people wanting to pay for that stuff.
Yeah, I
which
feel
is
I
interesting.
feel you.
Yep. Here's an interesting one that can grow, and I would love to see grow once COVID is over. Have you attended a public flight simulation exhibition or conference in the last 12 months? Of course, 97% says no, they have not, and we understand why. But I'm telling you guys in chat, the next flight sim expo they have, I don't care what country you're listening from, whether it's the Europe, a US, go.
Yeah, I
Just
agree.
go meet your fellow simmers. It's a beautiful experience. The two that I went to, I had fun. You guys should definitely do it.
This
I
show
recommend
would
it.
not exist if there had not been for a flight sim event.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like what's crazy is the next question is just asking kind of like a secondary question to that. So how many of you guys would plan to attend one in the next 12 months? Massive majority says none, which is super sad. Even though we have flight simulator area of Aero Expo Germany, which is I never heard of these, but 2% said they're going to that. There's another one going on in Germany, 2% going to that. FS Weekend in the Netherlands, 3%.
Right.
Flight Sim Show in Great Britain, Flight Sim Expo in the USA, and an Oz Flight Sim Expo in Australia. So guys, seriously, like look into those. If any of those are in your country, in your area of the world, look into it. And if you can make it out next year, go. I mean, we're not being told to promote this stuff.
Yep. And if you show the camera real quick, I'll show that they get cool T-shirts like this.
Yeah.
I picked this T-shirt up at Flight Sim Expo. It says Flight Simmers working from home before it was cool. You know what I mean? That's it. You get nice T-shirt. Look, this Navigraph one was from Flight Sim Expo 2 years ago. I still have it. It's my iPad holder, and also my mouse pad here from Orbix. That was from Navigraph. This is from Orbix. I got this at Flight Sim Expo a couple of years ago as well, and I can point to a whole bunch of stuff that they give you in your goodie bag when you go. You know what I mean? T-shirts, goodies, giveaways, cups, mugs. I have a mug from last year as well from Sim Market. I have a Sim Market hat. A Sim Market mug, Navigraph hat, Orbix mouse pad, and some other stuff I have, man. It's pretty cool. So go to Flight Sim Expo. Yeah,
and also
definitely.
think about the connections that you can make too. Like if you're a developer, if you're making a scenery, you're making an aircraft, if you're a streamer, I think it's extremely important, in my personal opinion, as a streamer. I feel like it's very important and it's business smart for you to show your face in front of these developers who will probably never reply to your email. So so definitely make it happen. I'm moving on to the next question, which is on page 51. Do you contribute to the flight simulation community? Now this is interesting to me because I want to know if like the number of streamers and people like that have gone up, and it looks like it's actually gone down on this chart. It says 5.4% of people who did this survey are YouTube or Twitch streamers. 1.2% are bloggers. We don't have very many blogs, so honestly, people can look at this chart and find gaps in our market and be like, hey, what if I go out and create a really cool blog? Are people looking at blogs? Is there something you can do to make a blog interesting? There's room for people there. Are you a writer, video producer? Only 2.7% of that. An admin of a flight sim. I don't really know what that means. And 3D artists, software developers, 4.6%. A beta tester, 13.5%. No, but I would like to. I think it's important to see too that there's a lot of people who would like to contribute to the community. They just may not know how to get started.
How
So
or what
I
to
think
do.
this is a good question for developers if you're looking for help. If you're looking for some type of way to train people and help them, build them up and create the next generation of developers, I think that'd be something good to look at.
Yeah, and then the next one down from that shows you why people don't do it. The biggest reason why people don't contribute to the community is time constraints.
Yeah.
And then after that, it says don't know what to contribute. So Blue just read out the list of stuff that you guys could do to contribute to it. And then the last set was limited skills. You know what I mean? I can understand that.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely, man. Yeah, I absolutely understand that. So that's, I want to get to the juicy stuff here, man. Let me just see what else is here.
I do want to just really quick skim by this next one. It says, how frequently do you use the following platforms for purpose of communicating? Basically, how are you communicating with the community? What's funny is that it used to be very big on forums. Wow, look at this.
Yeah, I remember those
Look,
days.
last year, AvSim forum, which I personally have never touched and don't know what it is, but apparently a lot of people have been using it. According to last year's results, Discord was still number one, but you'll see this year's massive majority of people are communicating with other flight simmers through Discord. Now, I want to say this because me and XP have witnessed a lot of flight sim developers who refuse to make Discords, refuse to communicate through Discord. I think it's extremely important to make one. If you don't have time, like find somebody in your team just to manage it. Like, you don't have to be on there every single day. Like, do your thing, but at least have a Discord for people to come and ask questions, because that's where we're at. That's where gamers are at in general. Like, they're not trying to make a freaking account and give you their email to go see a forum. Like, come on, man. I hate forums personally. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little hot about that, but I don't like forums.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Microsoft Flight Sim has come out of nowhere. And it's now a bigger forum than a lot of them, bigger than explain.org and all that stuff. And I've only been on Microsoft forum maybe one time to look for how to solve a problem with the sim. I don't go on there anymore. Discord is where it's at.
It actually surprises me here too that Facebook is beating Instagram and TikTok and Twitter as a communication platform. I personally don't really, I have a Facebook, but I don't really use it. But I do understand a lot of people are on there, and there are Facebook groups for X-Plane and Microsoft and Flight Sim, stuff like that. I just don't really, use them. I prefer to use the others. But yeah, I think that, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna get in trouble. I was gonna say it. Screw it. I think the Facebook people are like the people who are in that 40 to 40 plus range. That makes sense now. Y'all gonna hate me.
Greg Hill says high school teachers are teaching classes on Discord. Are you kidding?
No way. That's cool.
Didn't know that. Yeah, that is nuts, man. Real quick, next one was about virtual airline membership. Basically, 75% of people are not a part of a virtual airline.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You're missing out.
I mean, I'm starting one myself, kind of, sort of, but
I'm just saying, I'm not going to stay on that question too long, but we'll to the next one. But I'm just saying, if you are watching and you ever find yourself in a situation you're like, I don't know where to fly. XP's on vacation. I can't fly with him. What am I going to do? If you join a virtual airline, it gives you kind of a purpose to fly. You fly with your favorite airline, whether it be virtual, British Airways, Delta, Spirit, whatever. Anyways, do you fly online? Majority, 58% say yes.
Yes. So a little bit over 50-50 fly online, which is good.
That's interesting because the other question said that people are using default ATC as a majority, and yet somehow 58% of people are flying online. How's that?
Maybe that was for for mobile people. I don't know. Could be wrong. Let's just chalk it up to that.
Sure.
But anyway, how often do you fly on any of the following network? Number one network, no surprise, VATSIM. However, there is a surprise at number two. Volanta is beating IVO. Wow.
That's actually, I did not know Volanta blew up like that. What makes me upset is they didn't add my people, Sim Toolkit Pro. Come on. Because Volanta is not an online network. It's just a flight tracker that has shows of the people. It's not a VATSIM. Like, it doesn't really match the rest of these things. I don't know why they put Volanta in this list. Because even if you fly VATSIM, you're still connected to Volanta. If you fly Pilot Edge, you're connected to Volanta. So I don't think that's really fair. I don't think Volanta need to be on this specific chart. But it still shows a good perspective.
And POSCON is missing from this.
Exactly.
It's
Poscon's not on the
interesting.
list either.
Yeah.
Project, oh my god, it's so sad. Project Fly was on last year's result and now it's gone. That makes me sad.
I used to use it.
I used to use
FS Odyssey.
I
Yeah.
used to use Project Fly. I promoted the heck out of that thing. I loved
Yeah.
Project Fly, and believe this is exactly why, guys, we really have to support these apps and developers. Volanta is going a different route where it's free, but they're adding a lot of premium and paid stuff. And I'm just gonna be honest. In Orbix, I love you, but I don't want to pay for it. That's just my honest
Yeah.
opinion. With Project Fly, it was completely free. I think they tried to add some kind of premium thing, and I think some other stuff happened too. But still, if you need to support these things that you're using all the time, or they could just go poof and be gone, just like Project Fly. So, anyways, next.
Did you used to fly FS Cloud? Because it's no longer.
I have never
there
used
anymore.
FS Cloud.
Nice.
Is that an
Ooh,
FSX thing?
I didn't know. Yeah, I think so. All right. Here's the big one.
Oh boy,
Big
this is what we're
ballpark
looking
one.
forward to right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Platform.
It took us an
Oh,
hour to
boy.
get here, apparently.
Yeah, I know. We could check this one in the YouTube. All right. How often do you fly on any one of the following flight simulator software?
Oh man, I want
Let me
to
read-
just
let me
read
read
that
this first.
again. Let's go
It
ahead and
says,
just build that
following
one
the
up.
launch of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, this simulator has grown to become the most popular flight simulator among the respondents. Almost 3 out of the current use Flight Simulator 2020 to some extent. Laminar Explain 11 as well. Prepared version 4 and 5 are also popular, but look at the numbers. Microsoft Flight Sim, you're looking at almost 75%, 76% are using Microsoft Flight Sim. On a PC, by the way.
Hmm.
Not on Xbox. Look at the Xbox versus PC breakdown. That's surprising to me.
That is
Or maybe these
surprising.
are the people. Maybe these are the people who responded to the survey. That is nuts. Yes. However, just as shocking, or maybe not, the second highest at 50% is Explain 11, and we don't have Explain 12 yet.
What makes
Think
me
about that.
excited though is the fact that coming in a strong third is DCS World.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from?
I know.
Where the heck did that come from? Like, I don't know. I don't know if like the Ego Dynamics, the people who made DCS World, promoted this survey, and we got a lot more combat simmers who are doing a survey now, and so now they're more representative. But did not. I mean, I think DCS personally is number one. That's just me. Like, I mean, but but yeah, that's crazy to see that. But X-Plane, I'm excited to see X-Plane holding its own here, strong in third and second. Sorry.
Slam Cannon said it. It says the discrepancy between Explain 11 and Microsoft isn't as much as I thought it would be.
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
When I saw this yesterday or 2 days ago, I couldn't believe it. Explain is hanging in hard, man.
Yeah.
But I understand it though, because you have the Zebo 7.3, you got the tow list, you got the flight factors, you got the 7.5, the 7.6, the 7.7, the 7.8, the 777, you got MD-80, you got A300s, you got all these planes still, and Microsoft still don't have the first narrow body airliner other than the CRJ.
Bro, believe it or not, there's more people in this chart playing Microsoft FSX, the original, right, than Prepared V5.
That is striking.
I'm sorry,
Prepared
people. Ouch.
Yeah, I think Prepared might be dead, guys.
Oh, I didn't
Prepared
say
version 5 dropped, and it's like not even scratching the surface of the adaptation.
I think the thing too, though, is that maybe there's too many options on here, because maybe these five, Prepared 3D could have been just on its own instead of Prepared V1 as a subject, V2, V3, V4, V5, just having it as one as a whole. I think maybe it would have been more a greater representation of it than breaking it down and kind of splitting it up.
I would agree, except each of these are paid upgrades.
Oh, never mind. And
yeah, like, you know, I mean, Explain is paid upgrade too, so I shouldn't say, but when nobody talks about Explain 10, well, actually, it's on the chart up there, but you know what I mean?
But yeah, between X-Plane 10 and 11 was like a massive years and years gap, right? 4, 5, 6 years, and the same between X-Plane 11 and 12. But with Prepared versions, it's like, how often is that updating? I don't actually know personally, but anybody in chat can let us know.
But you know what's funny? Look at it. between X-Plane 10, X-Plane 11 to 11.4, and X-Plane 11.5, that's an almost equal number to Microsoft Flight Sim. So we might be looking at a 50-50 tie there, bro, or close to it,
I
between
wouldn't say
Microsoft and
50-50,
X-Plane.
but yeah, X-Plane's definitely doing stronger than I expected. I'm happy to see it though. I'm happy to see it because this is the numbers pre X-Plane 12, right? Like if this many people are playing X-Plane 11, and even the always is pretty big there. Like if you see like the amount of people who are playing X-Plane 11 always versus Microsoft Flight Sim on PC always is half. Like half of the people. Yeah, it's like half the number. So it's twice the amount on Microsoft than it is on X-Plane 11. But still, that's crazy. I think with 12 coming out, that number is going to rise big time.
Right, it's true. But you want to see something interesting? Microsoft numbers jumped since last year, but X-Plane's number jumped since last year as well. X-Plane 11.5 numbers jumped since last year. 11.4 went down, and 11.5 went up. So they're both growing.
Yeah.
You'd think that would be dead, but that is interesting, man. So that's a simulator battle, guys, right here at the end of 2021.
The numbers don't lie, guys. The numbers don't lie. And I mean, you see how massive the margin is from X-Plane right now to Microsoft. Good. So I'm not in any way saying that X-Plane is like even with them at all. Like Microsoft, in my opinion, based on these numbers, is winning. Microsoft is winning the fight, right? No matter how many people complain and say, "Oh, the airliners suck and you can't do this and it's not it's a game," like no matter what you say, like Microsoft is winning based on these numbers right now. The numbers don't lie. But I think again with X-Plane 12 coming out, and I mean just me as a simmer doing streams and seeing people come into my Microsoft and my X-Plane streams and seeing how a lot of people are jumping over to X-Plane. Like if they have the ability to do it, they're jumping over there because they want to fly the planes. People are attracted by the planes that X-Plane is offering. And X-Plane this past year, which has amazed me, have just really dropped aircraft that just make flying enjoyable. I mean, I has been really killing it. Who else dropped it? I mean, FlyJ Sim recently dropped the plane this year. It's really good. Aerobass with their Phenom. I mean, there's a lot of good planes, and even scenery developers are staying dedicated to X-Plane, or even doing double the work, dropping on both sims. So they definitely kept us occupied on the X-Plane side. And I'm actually surprised. I didn't think that I knew X-Plane wasn't going to die. I knew that. I knew it wasn't going to go away. But I didn't think it was going to be like used so much. You know what I'm trying to say?
But look at the just below that. It shows you that Microsoft did take ground from all the simulators. However, over 60% of the people did not switch to Microsoft. 30% of the people switched to Microsoft Flight Sim, right? 30% switched to Microsoft Flight Sim. 4% switched to X-Plane, and 3.5% switched to prepared version 5 from what they were flying before. So Microsoft did gain ground. They came into the scenery and just took a lot of people with them.
That's
whole lot of people.
I didn't know that was a thing. They actually show what percentage Microsoft took away from the other sims. That is crazy, yo.
Yep.
And this is people who are already simming. This is not like people who never flew flight sim. Like this is people who have been flying flight sims and they left X-Plane, they left prepared to go to Microsoft. But then also again, just like you said, looking back the other way around, how at first last year people were fleeing Microsoft to go back to prepared.
But it dropped. Yeah.
What happened to prepared in 2021?
Well, yeah, 2020, a lot more people were going over. It dropped in 2020. The number came down a little bit. 2021, the number came down. So the take-up rate basically peaked off and dropped back a little bit for Microsoft. And that's because there's no payware. Once a payware drops, it's a whole different ballgame, I think.
Yeah, I think that not just PMDG, but just like high quality. I know I keep saying PMDG, and I feel bad for saying that because there's a lot of other great developers who are making equal to even possibly better add-ons for Microsoft coming soon that we're going to enjoy, and it's going to sway people to come back over to the sim. But yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the third parties. X-Plane themselves haven't made any big jumps in the last year.
Well,
they've done nothing.
Well, scroll down a little bit though. Check this out. The following question was conditional and only presented to the respondent who stated that they switched to X-Plane 11 this year. So for everybody who switched to X-Plane 11, we can establish that the most flight simulator that respondents left for X-Plane was from Microsoft Flight Sim. Yep. So if you switch to X-Plane in 2021, 37% of the people who switched to X-Plane was from Microsoft Flight Sim. 22% was from FSX, and 21% was from Prepared. And then the 13% was from previous version of X-Plane. So X-Plane 11.5 got the biggest boost from Microsoft, former Microsoft users.
Wow.
Explain that. Yeah. That is funny.
Wow.
This community is split, my friend. This community is split.
I love it though. It's kind of cool to see. Like, I mean, we know what's kind of happening, but it's interesting to see it here. And you know, that I'm glad that everybody's participating in these surveys because it allows us to see what's really going on. You know.
Yeah. But the previous year, look at the previous year. The biggest users to X-Plane came from FSX, FS9, and Microsoft Flight Simulator was only 11%. This year it jumped and tripled the amount to 37. So the biggest people came from Microsoft. That's nuts. Wow.
It is.
Man, I need a drink.
The next one though, for our prepared people, we didn't forget about you. Same question, but people who switched to V5, prepared 3D V5, it says most people are coming from earlier versions of prepared, which makes sense because you know all their add-ons are yeah, it makes sense, all this stuff. So, but kind of ignoring that stat, after that we have looks like from X-Plane actually.
Yeah, 15%.
Yeah, their highest majority of people coming to prepare, which makes sense to me. I feel like as a person who plays Microsoft Flight Sim, I think that going to X-Plane would be more practical, right? Rather than going to prepared 3D. But if you are on X-Plane already, you're probably already on Microsoft too. So you probably are gonna go from X-Plane to Prepared because you want that quality wings. You know, you want that whatever those add-ons that Prepared has, because Prepared has probably even better, you know, airliner specific planes, anyways, than X-Plane. But it just X-Plane is prettier and it costs less.
Yeah, but further down, it shows you for people who did switch to Microsoft. It was 34% from FSX and 34% from X-Plane, and then 27% from P3D. You know,
it makes me wonder, like, what did I answer in this survey? Like, am I on this list? Am I in one of these statistics?
You know what it is? I think a lot of people were going back and forth and switching because they had one platform, was not satisfied with it, and go, you know what? Let me see what the other side has to offer. There's a lot of cross switching here. Yes, a lot more people went to Microsoft Flight Sim when it dropped because it's that good. But people came back from Microsoft going, okay, it's all good, but you know what? Let me go try X-Plane because I see these guys flying, you know, a 7.6, you know, Zebo and stuff like that. So people are like switching back and forth.
Yeah, I actually want to respond just quickly to a person in chat. Says he doesn't think that it is split. You are assuming that everyone took the survey. And I'm not assuming that everyone took the survey. But I did see that Magnus said over 200,000 people took this survey. I think that's enough people to kind of go with an assumption of kind of where the trends are going. You know what I mean? So I think obviously these numbers are not 100% accurate, but I think they do show an accurate perspective and picture of what's really going on underneath. A lot of things that we just don't, we talk about them, but we don't at the same time. You know, it's kind of like about where's your money going? Where are you actually spending your time? You know, and this is what this chart, these surveys show us.
True. All right, take a look at this. This one is going to be an interesting one. X-Plane 12 purchase likelihood. How likely is it that you will be buying X-Plane 12 when it comes available? And I just added up the numbers. 50% of the people said they're possibly going to buy this thing. Possibly at 50%.
That's right down the middle.
That's right down the middle. And I think people are probably holding back to see what it's going to actually look like and feel like once it drops.
Yeah.
That's not bad though. If it was like less than that, then you'd be worried.
Yeah, I still don't see. I know I feel like I'm always the negative one going against X-Plane 12, even though I am very excited about it as a flight simmer. But I think that in the big picture, a lot of people are still not going to get X-Plane 12 because, for one, it's not on console.
Right.
And mainly it's not on console. The console is where it's at. A lot of people coming in from the console side. A lot of people are going to need a good PC to run X-Plane 12, and that's not going to be everybody. So I think that's what the other 50% is going to be, is those people. They might eventually get it, but they'll definitely have their eyes on it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think, for me, I'm definitely getting X-Plane 12, no doubt about it. And I have
My
high
bad,
hopes.
27,000, not 200,000. Still, my answer was still accurate.
Right.
Go ahead.
A lot of people are going to get X-Plane 12, including me. There's more airplanes coming out for X-Plane 12. You understand? The level up airplanes drop today, which are freeware, 700 and 900. You can't beat that. The new, on the 7th of this month, you're getting the new 650, Challenger 650. That's coming out. That's going to be good. However, will dropping the PMDG 7.3 and the Phoenix A320 stop the growth of X-Plane 12 or the uptake of X-Plane 12? That's the question I have. Will 2 planes come into Microsoft Flight Sim stop X-Plane 12 in its tracks? What are you thinking?
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but those planes gotta be real good. They gotta be real good. Like, yeah, I mean, what, you have an example of what 2 planes could be? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Like,
I'm saying, yeah. Let's say the Phoenix A320 drops and
No.
PMDG drops to 737.
No.
So those are the 2 most flown airplane in the world in real life.
I would say
As a matter
no.
of fact, in the simulator, I would say it's the 2 most flown planes. It's the A320 family and the 737 family, right?
I agree with that.
Once those come to Microsoft Flight Sim, is that going to be enough to hold me to say, you know what? I don't need a 7.5. I don't need a 7.6. I don't need a 7.8 or the 777. These 2 planes are enough for me to fly, and I'll be okay.
Yeah, I think that's a no.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's gonna take more than 2 planes, especially the 320, because we already have that, and it's not gonna be cheap. 7.3, yeah, it feels like a 7.3 and a wide body like a 777, or something like that, maybe. But I still just think that it also comes down to the variety that we have in X-Plane and in P3D, that's keeping people there. Until Microsoft gets that variety and quality, then people are not going to make that sim their primary sim unless they're already happy with what they got.
Right. Now, here's just an interesting take on this. Flying a A320 or A319 and in X-Plane is completely different than flying a 737 in X-Plane. Like the feel, the sound, the movement, the whole thing. I'm wondering if when the 737 comes out from PMDG, how much difference of a field it's going to be. Now, hear me out here. It's going to look great. It's a PMDG product. It should be great. But are we going to feel a difference in the flight modeling to go, yes, this is 2 different planes and I'm getting my fulfillment on it? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I
don't know if Microsoft fidelity and feel is there yet. Could be wrong. We'll see what
I don't
PMDG
know.
comes
You make me think of, I know you weren't a fan of this plane, but the DC-6.
Right.
The DC-6, I felt like it didn't fly like any other plane in Microsoft Flight Sim. Like, it didn't feel like I was flying a toy. You know what I mean?
That's good.
And so based on my first PMDG experience, which was the DC-6 for me, I feel like, they should. I feel like if they fall short in the flight model, they failed. Seriously. Like, yeah, make a pretty plane. Yeah, give us some great systems. But if you fail in the flight model,
Microsoft
then
thing,
fail.
though? Is it a Microsoft thing? Because I'm looking at the 787 in Microsoft. It's, you know what I'm saying? But it's a default plane, though.
Feels like a toy.
Yeah, exactly. 7.4 feels like a toy. What can PMDG pull out of their hat to go, hey, we hammered this flight model down. It feels like a Zebo. Because you fly the Zebo, it feels like a different plane.
Yeah, when you butter the Zebo, you feel accomplished.
Oh, yes, you do. The bottom will fall out on you. You just drop, so that is the question, man. That is the question, definitely, that I am thinking about
Speaking
going,
of
wow.
questions, back onto the survey, I skipped down to page 73.
No
Do you
problem.
own an Xbox console? And 80+% say no.
That's good
And
news.
very small percentage of people are owning Xboxes, which is not surprising because again, it's hard to get your hands. Matter of fact, I tried getting an Xbox Series X myself, couldn't find
Right.
one. So I'm not surprised with it. I think as supply comes in for the Xbox, we'll see it grow. But I don't know. I'm thinking
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot more PC simmers here, at least in this survey, anyways.
Exactly.
I also
And then
don't know if console players even know anything about this survey, so I think this might be kind of lopsided a little bit.
Exactly. And also for the gamers out there, this is something that actually threw me for a loop. Page 67, the graphics card between NVIDIA, Intel, AMD. NVIDIA smashed this. 85% of the people use the NVIDIA graphics card to play flight simming.
Wow.
AMD's barely at 9.3%. And that hasn't changed since the previous year. Didn't know that. Yeah. Windows 10 majority, PC majority over a laptop. We know that. But yeah, NVIDIA graphics card is like number one by far. And most people are still on a 1080 graphics card.
I have a
Take that back.
1080.
No, it's tied between a 1080 and a 2080. The 30 series graphics card are barely picked up. A 3080 is only 9%. 3070 is only 6%. 3090 is 5%. So NVIDIA is ruling the roost, and the 10 series is up there still. You know, that's a good graphics
I got
card.
the 10 series. I got the 1080 Ti, and it is still holding on strong right now. I stream with it, flight sim with it. Yeah, man, it's doing a good job.
Yep.
I saw another question back on the Xbox thing. It says, do you fly simulators on Xbox? And this thing keeps blowing my mind because at one point you're like, oh yeah, nobody has an Xbox. But then you see this question is like, do you fly sims on Xbox? And it's 54% say yes. Like what?
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
Like what?
Exactly.
Well, then you're like, okay, well, the majority of people playing flight simulators in general, it doesn't say, it just says, do you fly simulators? It's not saying which one. It's just saying in general. And 54% of all of the community who did this survey said, yeah. So that's crazy to me.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you fly with something else? Do you fly simulators on your console with something else than a gamepad controller? 46% said no. 39 use some type of yoke and joystick pedal, which is cool. And it's funny is last year, if you were able to run a flight sim on a console, would you prefer to play with something else than a gamepad? And most people said, yeah, they want a yoke and pedals. So,
yep. It makes sense. It's the next step forward once you get a taste of flight simming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep, definitely. It's also saying that most people are satisfied with the graphics card they have now, by the way. They're not looking to upgrade or change, which is surprising to me because everybody wants the fastest, latest, and greatest, but they're satisfied with it. This
one's interesting too. Why don't you fly simulators on console? I would love for the chat to get involved with this question. On XP stream, on my stream, if you're watching, let us know if you are flying on console, and if you are, why are you flying on console? Just be honest. And if you don't fly on console, why not? But what this says is the software is that I use is not supported. Well, it's 19%, which probably means like, you know, they don't have X-Plane on there, they don't have Prepared on there. The hardware I use is not supported. So like, you know, maybe your honeycomb yoke, you have the current one that does not work on Xbox just yet, or you prefer to fly on PC, which is the 80% of people, which is not surprising at all. I think that most people, if they have access to a PC, is going to prefer to fly on PC. It's just way more options. You can mod, you can get all liveries, you can get all the hardware. It's just, there's no limits on the PC for flight sim. On Xbox, it's just too many limits.
Yep. Now, here's a breakdown for what people's simulator setup looks like. Over 63% of the people have a throttle quadrant at home. 57% has rudder pedals. And joystick with a hat switch, 50% of people have a joystick. And then only 46% have a yoke. I get that. before Honeycomb and before Thrustmaster, the Logitech yoke was the only really one out there that was like affordable to get, and
Yeah.
then most people didn't get it anyway. So joysticks is more popular than yokes by 5%.
I'm not
Rubber,
surprised, but I'm actually surprised that Yokes is so high, personally. I don't know. I don't know.
it's a good thing though. It's a
Yeah.
good thing that yokes are up there. Yeah, I mean, it's a very good thing that yokes are up there. And look at VR. Only 15% of people have VR, bro.
Yeah, 15 VR is expensive, man, and it's hard to get into. And I feel like VR is not the first choice of things to buy when you're getting into flight sim. You already need to spend money on a joystick, a yoke, a throttle, because you don't want to fly in VR with a mouse and keyboard. You know what I mean? So, like VR, I feel like, in my opinion, I had somebody ask me on the stream the other day, should I buy a Honeycomb Bravo or should I buy a VR headset? And I was like, well, it depends on what throttle you already have, because VR kind of completes the setup. Right, VR is, in my opinion, would be the last thing you would add to your setup. First, you want to get everything in front of you and get your hands on the things you can get your hands on to make that experience fun, and then you jump into VR. That's what I personally feel. So I'm not surprised that it's so low.
Yeah, yep. And there it is right here. Do you own a VR headset? 76% of the people says no, they don't own a VR headset. They don't want one.
What page is that on?
That is going to be on page 81. Page 81. So yeah, most people, I get asked from time to time, hey man, you're gonna do VR? And I say no, it's not gonna be a good experience for the people watching the stream. And most people don't have it anyway,
Yeah, that's why I don't stream with VR. It's a good experience for the person doing it, but not as good of an experience for people watching it. So as content creators, it's just not as interactive, in my opinion, or at least from my experience, to fly VR and have people just looking at you. I like to be able to interact with the chat, stuff like that.
Exactly. Now, Microsoft Flight Sim has VR on top. Out of everybody else, 6% of VR users use Microsoft Flight Sim. And then DCS is 18% second. X-Plane being third, and then Prepared is last. So,
wow,
Microsoft
look at this though. Which VR headset? Other people who are using VR, which headset are they using? That's just the Oculus Rift and the Rift S, which makes sense. That's the older one that's been around. It's the trusted brand. But then the Reverb that just came out is only 6%. So that's kind of surprising, but also kind of not surprising at the same time.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, that's the story of VR. So VR is not there yet for flight simming, guys. It's good, but it's just not there. You know what I mean? The numbers don't lie for it, and so forth.
I think there's a few things that need to happen for VR to really excel in gaming and in flight sim. And some of those things have not yet happened yet. So if you get VR now, you're getting it ahead of the curve. It may seem like VR is kind of going downhill, but I think there's some things in technology that are progressing that's going to be what's needed to make VR really excel.
Exactly. All right, let's jump ahead here. I wanted to get to this point. This is going to be page 90. Add-ons in general. What influences you the most when deciding to purchase an add-on software?
I like this question. I like this notes.
One. Exactly. The number one thing that gets you to buy add-on software is video reviews and tutorials. That's your field right there, Blue.
That's
the number one. I know.
Number two, though, is watching streams and live video shows.
Exactly. So sponsors, add-on makers,
hit us up.
People, you need to go here, look at the survey, and see what the number one reason people. It's not forum posts, okay? It's not newsletters. It's not ads in a magazine. It's not news reviews. It's not offline stores. Maybe recommendation from friends, but the number two is video reviews and tutorials, and watching streams and videos get people to buy stuff. And it makes sense. They get to see Blue Games use the Honeycomb yoke or the Thrustmaster yoke or the Honeycomb Bravo quadrant. You know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, Blue's got it. I mean, or they see you do your review of it, your unboxing videos. That's what gets people to buy.
And then guess what happens after that? That person's like, oh, I'm getting that. I want to get that. And then they tell their friends, and then they get recommendations from friends. So yeah, guys, developers, if you're making stuff for flight sims, for games in general, like in 2022, that is the way to sell, in my opinion, is to do that. Yeah, you can make a lot of noise doing marketing or not marketing, but like you just putting a forum post on somewhere, but eventually somebody will pick it up and do it. But still, I think really pushing it out to people, if you're confident in your product, put it in their hands.
Exactly. Flips Edgar says, how do you find flight sim software add-ons in a printed magazine? I don't know, man. I don't know. A barcode, something like that. Scan with your phone. Here's another interesting one. Actually, me and you talk about this all the time, Blue. This is going to be on page 92.
Yep, I'm on it.
Aircraft add-ons. What are the most important features for you when deciding which add-on to purchase? This is a
tough
close
one right here, because
Yeah.
wow, this is really close. Price
But
is
I
not
would
even
say
on the top.
no. Number one is set of instruments avionics modeled, meaning that they want systems. They want systems is number one here. Believe it or not. Yeah.
Yeah, flight dynamics is a close second.
Yep. Flight dynamics is number two, which makes sense.
Obviously, a virtual cockpit is just kind of like that's the core, so you definitely
Visual,
need that.
right.
But it is interesting though on this list that external aircraft visual realism is nowhere near the front.
Wow. Look at that.
Now, developers though, now listen to me. Please don't cut corners on that. we want the beautiful models, we want the great model of the aircraft, but that can't be all. Let me say that again. That can't be all you're doing, is making a beautiful exterior model of an aircraft. People want more.
Yeah, they do. I'm surprised that sounds is that low though.
I am surprised. Sounds,
very
I
important.
probably rated sounds as number one over systems.
Yeah, sounds is down there as very important. Only like 30% of the people said it is very important. Versus avionics, 65-70% says it's important. That's interesting.
Also, number of liveries is not important at all. I agree with this, because once you release a plane, all you gotta do is put out a paint kit. Don't waste your time on making a whole bunch of liveries. Like, save that time. If you can just do that, like if you have a team that can just focus on liveries, that's literally their only skill, they can't do anything else, that's fine. But don't take processes or people away from other more important things on the project to do liveries, because people do care. We want the right livery, but we know that livery is going to come from somebody else. You don't have to make it. Basically, we'll make it ourselves.
And I'm shocked that you guys don't even think price matters.
That's
We talk about it
crazy.
all the time, but you guys are only like 28% think price is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and less than wow. That is something else when it comes to add-on.
Matter of fact, when
So
it comes to things that people think are not important, price comes second.
yeah.
At least
Okay.
important.
All right. Now, check this out. Scenery and weather, and this says a lot to me. Based on the type of flying you do, which aspects of a scenery add-on is important to you? You know what the number one is? Not ortho, not high-res textures, not coastline. Detailed airports is number one.
That makes sense.
Think about that. No, for Microsoft Flight Sim and X-Plane 11, Microsoft's got ortho. X-Plane 11 doesn't by default. People still said that detailed airports are important than ortho. Less than 40% of the people says terrain topography with high resolution or orthophoto text with high resolution is only like 30-something% versus detailed airports. And to me, it's like when I do IFR flying, I want my airport where I'm taking off from to look good. Once you get above the clouds or high enough, it almost doesn't matter. And then when you're landing again, you want the airports to be good again.
Yeah.
So yeah. So does that say that X-Plane 12 might have a chance if it doesn't have ortho?
Yeah, based on this chart, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For real? Definitely. So that's interesting, to see where people's minds are. And that didn't change from last year. So that's pretty consistent since the previous year when they did the survey. So yeah, not bad.
All right, let's go to weather importance, page 97. Considering the weather inside the simulator, please rate how important the following aspects are for you. It's kind of, let's see, how important is the weather experience overall for your simulation sessions? Is it important to be able to worsen the weather? No. In regards to weather, including clouds, how important is the realistic weather experience? I think but it's like right in them. It's like 60%, I think.
Right.
That's 60, yeah, 60% on that one. In regards to weather, including clouds, how important is visual, exciting experience? And that's about 50, just under 50% for that one. Is access to live, real-time weather important to you? And so far, that is the highest rated of the questions.
Exactly.
65.
The highest rating people want live weather because they can go look at a location, go, it's storming there. Is it snowing? Is it sunny? I want to fly there. Live weather is important, and where they get their live weather from, 70% says they want it generated by the simulator itself.
Mm-hmm.
Only 40% say they want it by payware software. So Microsoft has got live weather from the sim, which is good. X-Plane 12 is going to have it by live weather from the sim, which is good. Payware software, I have Active Sky, paid for it. It does the live weather good, but next generation, are we going to need it? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
It was 50-50 last year, but this year people, almost 70% said they want it from the simulator. So they want default built-in good weather. That's something else. It's good to know.
Kind of interesting looking, kind of scamming at this chart here about chart products and add-ons, and 63% of people are using Navigraph charts.
Hold on, let me talk to my sim. See, guys, when you come in chat and say, hey man, do you think I should get Navigraph? What did I tell you? Yes, if you're gonna fly online, pick up Navigraph. They give you the whole complete package, which is the air rack plus the charts. And you don't have to think about it, just go update, right? Sky Vector is number 2, because Sky Vector does give you some charts and whatever, but it doesn't give you air rack data and so forth. The rest of the ones down here, I have no idea what they are.
Wow, look at this though. Compared to last year, Navigraph was 59, Sky Vector was 35. It's like a massive drop to 27. So this year.
Yeah, and 4Flight is barely used. I had 4Flight for a while, which
it's
is
just too
world.
expensive, man. That's
yeah.
For a flight simmer, unless you're using it to fly in real world too, and you just happen to have a subscription, in my opinion, it's just not worth it.
Right. And then the nitty gritty, what kind of charts you use? Jepsen charts is number 1. I don't even know what the Lido charts are, or Lufthansa system Lido charts. Jepsen charts are number 1. FAA charts are up there, 30%. Those are the basic charts. They do work, but the Jepsen charts give you the topography, color changes and stuff like that. So yeah, that's interesting. Where that is concerned.
I like this one. Here we go. Flight tracking products. We kind of touched on this one earlier.
Yes, we did.
We're not going to stick around here too long, but it looks like Volanta is hanging out at 19%, which is one of the highest. And then Simlink, or Moving Maps by Navigraph, is 28%, which I kind of feel like that didn't need to be on this list. It is a tracking product, yes, but it's a bit different than what these other things are. My opinion. I'm also noticing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say most people don't use any at all. 40%.
They just use Microsoft's logbook. I know a lot of people. Seriously, a lot of people just use Microsoft's logbook, and they actually really care. Like they're like, yo, because for a while, Microsoft wasn't correctly logging people's flights on Microsoft, right. And people were getting upset. Like, man, how do I figure out what my hours are, because Microsoft keeps deleting my flights, this and that. So people are definitely, I think, on the Microsoft Flight Sim side, really taking an importance into the Microsoft Flight Sim logbook. But I think this is a good spot to promote. And again, I don't have any ties with any of these companies, but having a Volanta or a SimToolkit Pro is really cool to have if you can, download it on your PC. If you're on PC, it's really cool to have a way to track your flights, go back and see what flights you've done. It shows you a map of everything you've done. You can go back and debrief your flights even if you want to. So it's pretty cool.
Exactly. And then it looks like at least 50% of the people, they do use a flight planning service to plan their flights. For fuel and stuff like that. And the one company that corners the market for flight planning is Navigraph, which is SimBrief now, basically. Yeah. They use it to find.
Which one are you looking at? Are you looking at the Nav Data FMS products?
Right. Or... So 105, the flight planning.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 50% of the people use flight planning to, plan their flights. And what they're looking for mostly when we scroll down to 104 is they want to find a route number 1. and they want to calculate fuel number 2. So
Yeah.
route and fuel is pretty much the top 2 reasons why they plan their flights, which makes sense to me.
Yeah,
You
makes
understand?
sense.
Yeah, route and fuel is the top 2 reasons. And then, of course, what did they use to plan such thing, which is on page 107? SimBrief by Navigraph. That's why Navigraph bought out SimBrief.
It was a smart
You know?
move. Like if you
Oh,
wanna
yeah.
if you wanna make a mark in like as a business, I don't know. I think SimBrief has always been free, by the way, too. So,
Yep.
Navigraph is a company who is not a free service. I'm sure they have a good amount of money in their pocket. They can go out and buy a website like SimBrief. Whoever made SimBrief probably made a good chunk of change on that sale, or I think it's actually collaboration. I don't know if they actually sold it. I think they actually went into partnership. I'm not sure, but definitely a smart move by them. What I liked as a SimBrief user and a Navigraph user, it was actually a pretty seamless change. I didn't lose anything in my account, so I was pretty happy about that. But I'm not surprised at all about that. I've never used VRoute. I do use SkyVector sometimes to do some planning. I've never used most of those. I don't use Navigraph charts for flight planning. I only use it to look at the charts.
All right. Let's look at one more. What time is it? Wow, we've gone an hour 40 minutes, bro.
Sheesh.
Let's look at one more. Page 114. Go to page 114, and we'll kind of wrap it up here, because this survey, I'm going to drop the link in chat if you guys want to read this in detail. It's there. The survey is 122 pages long, with all kinds of details, but page 114.
I'm actually looking at 112, and I'm like, what's up with this? Okay, hold on, before we go, it said 112 media consumption. Which flight sim or aviation related media do you consume? And I'm like, why is YouTube and Twitch not on this list?
That's why 114.
Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, because these are just online magazine,
Ah.
basically. That's what it is. So I just jumped over those.
Holy crap.
Exactly. 114 says it all.
Page 114 says it all.
Which video platforms do you use for consuming flight simulator and related content? And this actually is shocking to me. I knew it, but I didn't realize it. Number 1, YouTube. Wow. 95% use YouTube. And Twitch is not even close at 39%.
Twitch is competing with Facebook.
For flight simming, not other simming, because Twitch is good for other gaming platforms. Listen
though. A lot of us don't know this, because I think a lot of people who are watching this right now on YouTube are not watching on Twitch, and they're not watching on Facebook. But what people don't understand is there is people streaming on Facebook and getting good numbers over there. Like streaming flight sim to Facebook. I've actually seen it. So I'm not surprised that Facebook is as high as it is, but it does really blow my mind that YouTube is more than half of Twitch consuming content. And it actually surprised me that Facebook is that high, personally. And it surprised me also that Vimeo is even on the list.
Yeah, Vimeo account. I've used it ever. TikTok is also streaming flight sim. Patreon. Wow.
I actually thought TikTok would be higher, because I know a lot of people have been really booming on TikTok for like flight sim memes, flight sim shorts, things like that. I know Instagram has been on the rise with the reels,
right,
for not just flight sim content, but aviation content. If you're a content creator and you're trying to get discovered and known, right now Instagram Reels is a great place to go. I'll just give you that tip for free.
You can live stream on Instagram, correct? Or no?
You can, but you can't like stream like a screen. Like it had to be like your face, and that's it. I've been actually personally looking into finding out if there's a way to create like an OBS Instagram thing. So because I would love to go live on Instagram, or in addition to what I'm already doing. So
Liquid Snow says they all have Facebook bots watching them on Facebook. Oh my god. Yep. Wow, didn't know that.
This chart is blew my mind. I really thought Twitch was much higher than what, because I mean you see, you know what, now that I really look at it and think about it, it surprises me. But when I really think back to when the last time I got on Twitch and saw people watching things on Twitch, wasn't as much as it used to be. For flight sim.
Yep. That's it.
Obviously, we
You
got
know,
our few big flight sim streamers, right? Like when I say big, like big, big, big.
right?
Outside of that, nobody's watching anybody. They're all streaming
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah. Jump back to cams here because I think that's the last good
At the
question
last
in this
one,
thing.
sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds
everything
good.
else is just data analysis. But there it is, guys. There's a presentation of all this. And what is your top takeaway, Blue, from everything that you've looked at, from the platforms to the planes to the source of watching the stuff that we do? What's your main takeaway on this? What's your surprises and so forth?
Honestly, that last one about YouTube, I really thought that Twitch would be much higher, but it really surprised me. And I think that one's really personal to me as a streamer on YouTube. It actually makes me feel a bit better. I'm like, yeah, I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm making content for YouTube, so it makes me feel like I'm kind of going in the right direction for my own content. But also the whole Xbox discussion, right? Like I knew a lot of people came over from Xbox, but it sounds like, even though in some of the charts it kind of didn't really make sense to me, because some of them were like, yeah, like no, I don't use Xbox, but then you see like what's the percentage of people who are on,
Right.
like then it says 54, so then it means that on Xbox the majority of people in the whole flight, I don't know, is Xbox. So I don't know, it's definitely interesting. And then also seeing Microsoft and the numbers versus X-Plane and even DCS World, that was big for me. Seeing that obviously Microsoft is on top. It has the biggest reach. They have it on console. They've really promoted. They put, I think, more resources into marketing it and putting it in front of more people. But X-Plane is really standing strong, and I think that in this next coming year, it's going to be tough. Actually, not take that back. It's gonna be a great time for a
Yep.
PC simmer, because you're gonna be able to have the option to fly Microsoft Flight Sim. You have the option to play X-Plane 12, and you have the option to play Prepare 3D and DCS World. But it's gonna be tough, for people who have them to decide which to fly. Because when PMDG comes out with their plan, you're gonna want to drop that money on that. When what I mean, it's just gonna be tough when it comes to deciding what platform to really invest in. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to pick just one, it's gonna be hard to choose.
True. Definitely. For me with the YouTube and the Facebook thing, and the Twitch thing, I've watched that YouTube have slowly robbed a lot of Twitch streamers over to Facebook, over to YouTube from Twitch. They have actually brought them over, given them contracts and stuff in the whole general gaming industry itself. But to see these numbers for streaming, because I started watching flight simming on Twitch, wasn't YouTube. Captain Canada was already the main guy over on YouTube at the time, and Cat's Trader ended up going to Twitch. But when I decided to stream, like YouTube, they'll save my videos. You can rewatch it at your leisure. Was one thing. So maybe that's the reason why people can go back and catch your stream later on
Yeah.
if they missed it the day. Watch at least no, they only go back to watch your takeoff and landing.
Yep, that's what happens.
You know,
That's what they should have
that's
put in
what
this survey. What part of the stream do you watch? Do you watch it
exactly.
live, or do you replay it? And if you do replay it, what part of the video do you watch? Do you watch the whole thing, or do you watch the takeoff and landing? That's going to be in next year's survey. Navigraph is making it happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Second part that got me, I'm encouraged by the X-Plane consistency here. I mean, X-Plane should have been crushed when Microsoft dropped, because the sim is pretty. Microsoft is just beautiful. Like, every time I do a flight and complete from start to finish, I'm like, wow, this thing looks good. And you would think X-Plane would be crushed, but then I realized what it is. Next day I get up, I want to fly a different airplane. Microsoft doesn't have it yet.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And I go back and I grab X-Plane and run. So I'm encouraged by that, and I want the competition between the two simulators. I don't want one simulator to dominate everything and start taking it for granted. And X-Plane people are stepping up with the add-ons that are coming out still to this day. Haven't given up yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the second thing that I've taken away from the survey. And the next thing is the Flight Sim Expo, guys. Go to Flight Sim Expo, man. If it's in your neck of the woods, man, if you can plan it and go do it, I'd say, guys, do it. This is our hobby. We look at the stuff at least 3-4 times a week. We fly at least 2 hours. If you can, try to attend an expo. It's really a good thing for you to do. You know what I mean? Definitely, and enjoy yourselves. So those are the main things I can think of from the survey. It's a hell of a way to wrap up 2021 in our flight simming industry.
Yeah.
And I've been excited this year for the amount of products and things that have come out. And developers continue to adjust to the new simulator that came out, bring out scenery, big out airplanes, and I've started this year excited, and I'm ending this year excited as a flight simmer in this community and this space.
I agree. Like, I
And
haven't gotten bored. Like, there's been so much going on this year. Like,
Right.
I'm having trouble keeping up with it all. Like, keeping up with hardware releases, keeping up with new planes coming out, both on the airline and on GA side. I know we didn't talk a lot about GA releases this year, but like the Kodiak that came out recently is amazing. For Microsoft Flight Sim, the Aerobass Phenom that came out not that long ago, which I just personally picked up, is really good as well on the GA side for X planes. So it's a lot of great products coming out. These developers are putting a lot of hard work into it, and it's just been a lot of fun. And I actually today find it extremely hard to decide what plane to fly next. And when I'm trying to decide that, I'm like, all right, well, what sim am I gonna fly next too? You know, so it's definitely exciting for these coming years. And it just, honestly, with 2022, I know there's these certain planes and add-ons that we want to come out, but it's just gonna add to our hangar. It's not gonna stop us from flying the stuff that we already love. You know, we're not gonna stop flying the fly-by-wire A320 because the 737 got released, right? We're gonna still go back to the 320. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Yep, that's it. Well, folks, that's it. 2021 is just about over, and 2022, and as Liquid Snow says in chat, when it comes to flight sim, I look forward to 2022. I do as well.
Oh yeah.
And I will keep bringing the entertainment as best as I can for you guys. I know Blue is going to be doing the same thing, you know, keeping that game going up and up and up and up and up. Have you seen Blue's videos lately? They've been good and crisp, man. I love it.
Thank you, man.
But yeah, so you know,
I do want to say for both of us, I guess as like a wrap up of the year, thank you every single one of you guys who have subscribed, who have liked, who viewed, who've watched anything that we've done, whether it be the Blu-XPerience, be an XP live stream, whether you join the conga line, you know, on VATSIM, whatever it is that you've done to support either of us, we definitely both want to just say thank you, seriously. Like, it's been a great year. I know my channel, I think both of our channels have been trending up. We've hit a lot of milestones, got through a lot of cool stuff, you know, so it's been really cool. We want to keep doing this. I enjoy it. I know he enjoys it. We love it. We love Flight Sim. We love you guys. And it's been an amazing ride all year long. And yeah, 2022 is going to be hot, man. It's going to be sick. I'm excited. I think we're going to get hit with some surprises as well.
Oh yeah, more to come, guys.
And let's not forget about that DCS Apache coming out. Yes, sir.
There you go. More to come, guys. More to come for 2022. I absolutely appreciate you guys, man, from the bottom of my heart. You know, we do it. We have fun, and that's how we're gonna do it. So my last words, until I see you guys again, is run the track. And I know Blue's got something else to say.
Yes, sir, guys. Remember, you have 3 choices: give up, give in, or give it all. You got peace, love, and God bless you. Make sure you stay safe out there too as well. We'll see you guys next time, next video. We out. Peace.
Bye bye.